If you don't know that sound, you have not been playing Destiny 2's Crucible. This is the sound of our people. This is how we salute. And we're gonna pop off 3 rounds into the air and go into the story of what makes up the new PvP Crucible in Destiny 2. I played a lot of Destiny 1. The first year and a half to me were probably some of the best gaming experience I'd had ever. It topped like Halo 3. That's how much I like Destiny. After that, it kind of started to fall off for me for different reasons. It kind of ended up just being where that meta was. And then Destiny 2 reinvents itself in this new era team shooter, where they raise the time to kill, making it so you effectively have to run with another teammate if you want to perform well in this game, not only to slay, but just to stay alive. The levels are a little bit smaller, and they also have a lot of angles where you can get picked off, but because of the time to kill, you can always run away and run back into backup, or there's a number of ways for you to delay engagements, like using your rift for healing, having power weapons. Power weapons make other people play very passively. On the bottom left, you're going to see when people pick up power weapons. So it's a great thing for competitive play. I think this game is really good for competitive, but it's still very passive. People were using a lot of Mouya for several different reasons. One, it's only week 3, so people really like having a radar at that point, but there is also a new radar mechanic which makes it lag from going ADS back into just hipfire. The time that it's down is a big deal, especially when there's a lot of corridors that have angles on you. Supers they're very well balanced, but I find that some of these balance changes are not very fun. Even bringing down the teams into 4v4, 4v4 is very competitive because it only allows for certain setups like splitting the team into 2v2s or possibly going 3-1, but the 3-1 very risky because it just takes 2 players to turn around to mow that person down. It's a split you're not going to see as often. Flanks are going to be a lot less frequent just because of how safe it is to either go with a complete team setup around a structure or break out into teams of 2v2s. Another thing that's going to force team engagements is going to be heavy. It's always going to have to be contested, but in pub games and just a casual playlist, you may not see this, but I got the quotation marks going because there's really no options in Destiny right now of how you play PvP. Like, I think it's probably one of the worst PvP setups I've ever seen. Like, I'm going to be that critical because it's true. 2 playlists that don't give you options of anything that you're going to be playing? Come on. Anyways, going back into the heavy thing, in casuals, if somebody picks up heavy, you pretty much know that you are uncontested against 3 people. You just have to watch out for that one guy. So what's the winning strategy? It's to fall back or fall back into your other player with heavy, so it's a lot more fair. Because of the high time to kill, one-on-one engagements against heavy, you're done, especially fusions. You don't really have to worry about rockets as much anymore. They don't have any of the crazy grenades and horseshoes, which made it pre-detonate. There's a more crazy tracking. There is some grenade launchers or some rocket launchers. It's 2 different kinds you can kind of choose from that do have these funny effects, but for the most part, jumping will get you out of a lot of different situations, even just for people to look up. The standard default is so slow in this game. That's actually a way with a lot of the supers. If you jump up really high, you have enough time to kill them. So in this game, I like the balance. Like, I have to say, I really like the balance, but I just don't find it too fun. And that's a very subjective thing. I just have to point it out because I think you guys have to know my real stance so it doesn't seem like I'm being completely biased, or at least you know where I'm coming from. Because I'm trying to be fair because there's a lot of things that I still do like about Destiny, especially what they've done with all their guns. Like, it has really distinct ranges for each weapon type. You really have to be in their face with a sidearm or a pistol. I really like the sidearms and the pistols. I find them to be a lot of fun. They also shred, just like the SMGs. I'm not particularly good with them, but if you know your ranges on your guns, you're going to be able to perform really well with them. And there is some good hand cannons out there. I find that there's actually good weapons in all the archetypes, so that was really well done. But some of the choices just kind of leads to this passive game style that feels a little bit slower, and sometimes snowballs worse than any other game that I've seen played, because Shaxx didn't call a game that was like 70 to 9, maybe 72 to 9, something ridiculous like that, and I was like, come on man, you gotta be able to call games like that. Because there's a huge difference between matching up solo players against full teams. This is a very team coordinated game, which is not a bad feature on its own. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for casual players to enjoy. If you're playing Supremacy, again, there's really little reason to leave your team. It's like, yeah, I could start snowballing because once another team's behind, they're forced to push you. And if it goes wrong, well, what are you going to do if people are going to be super passive even when they have the lead? You have to keep running into them, and you know that's why you end up seeing these really uneven scores. Been in a couple of games where people quit out, and it does really suck in this game because it makes it so it snowballs so fast out of your control, and you feel like you are just getting taken advantage of. Once they take both heavies, 3 heavies, like after that they have 4 rounds, and if there's only 3, you're all gonna die 4 times a piece. Like that's crazy. And that's before the new one spawns, so I think you guys get it by now. And if not, then you're forced to play really defensive. See, this is the wheel that keeps spinning when I play this game. It's you just end up having to play so much more defensive, or you have to play as a unit, which is great as a competitive shooter, but for just a pick up and play for kicks, I don't find it too appealing. Granted, I've never played Overwatch. I was never really into the team FPS games, but I find that game is well-rounded to such a thing by having different characters that have more abilities, thereby actually making it matter who you choose. Here, not so much. It ends up just being a lot of poke damage from far away and just picking off some shots, going back into cover, recharging, and then doing it all over again. And once you manage to burst someone down, you charge in there like Terminators, about spaced a foot apart, jumping up and down, and you just blast 3 guys versus 4 because the DPS just absolutely annihilates it. I don't find that grenades do enough damage. If you even think back to Halo 3, which is what a lot of people compare this game to, Halo, the grenades in Halo helped you prime people. Even it didn't matter. Whoever was in the range was getting primed to a one-shot. Is that kind of burst damage bad? I don't know, man. Halo was an awesome game, but the reason that got stale is because everybody can only strafe left and right. You can't even run. Like, that game is actually stale to go back. At the time, revolutionary. And this is the problem with me and Destiny right now. It didn't bring it. It didn't bring it like it did back in D1. D1, revolutionary. D1, it had these supers. D1, you can bring out your Sparrow in the middle of a level. I'm like, this is crazy. That was D1. And D2 is just like, what do you think is going to happen when you take somebody's shotgun and sniper away and then hand them a pistol? You're like, okay. Like, cool, okay, the game slowed down. It's like, alright, I don't have my weapons off the black market to just start annihilating these other guys. And I keep saying this, that I love the gunplay in Destiny, but they needed to replace the extra power from before with something else. Maybe with more abilities. I was really expecting more than 2 trees, and I also thought you were going to be able to like customize between them. Like, I just don't find enough options in this game as it is.
I can't wait to see what you do with that.
Well, I know what I'm going to go do with it. I'm going to go slay some guys because no one else has heavy. 3 out of 4 guys don't have heavy, so let's just go see what happens. Overshield. I ain't going to do anything. So I don't know if it's as enjoyable as it was in D1 where everybody got heavy and had the chance to be a Slayer machine. I don't know. I thought that was pretty good team building. It's like, everyone grab a heavy and go do your thing. But now it's just limited to 1 person. Like, why not just limit the ammo, put it lower to like 1 or 2 per person? You know what, I didn't even finish talking about the Mouya. We talked a little bit about the radar. The speed is a huge thing that just adds to being passive in this game. It means you can run away because the time to kill is so high. You can tell when you're starting to die, and if you don't want to take any risky plays, which is kind of what this game is forcing you to do these days, well, the extra speed from the Mouya is going to help you escape. It also helps you close the distance. So the Mouya has almost 3 advantages. It's got the constant radar, it's got the extra speed and awareness and lets you cut distance, and it's also a scout, and since you're going to be doing a lot of poke damage, it's a perfect weapon. Is it OP? You decide.